Hey there, I'm Further Reading. Today we're going to talk about farming and caring for your animals. My first tip is that floors are see-through. By this I mean light can travel through them. For example, you'll see here we've got a block floor. If I go down one level, you'll see we have some farm plots. You might notice already that we've got some grass here. Grass should only grow on the surface, but because this is under a floor, it can grow here as well. And if I click on the farm plot, you can see that I'm growing grapevines in this one. And I'm growing rope reeds in this one. These are normally surface plants. And right next to them, I've got this big farm plant. And if I click this, you can see that I am growing pigtails. And I only have access to stuff I can grow underground. So even though these are all on the same Z level, because this is normal ground and this is a floor tile, this counts as having light and this counts as being dark. The value of this mechanic isn't just for farming though. You'll see here in my other fort, if I scroll down, I have this area at the bottom of a pit with a channel leading up to the surface. This is my food production area, and this whole area now is going to be in sunlight. This is quite helpful because when items rot, if they are in sunlight, they don't create miasma. Sometimes my dwarfs can be busy, and after they butcher an animal or they cook a meal, they might not have time to move it into one of my many quantum stockpiles in this area. So by putting it at the end of this pit, it means that if anything does end up going bad, it's not going to negatively impact my dwarfs as much. My next tip is how you can set which foods can be brewed and cooked. For this, you want to go down to your labor menu, which is down here, depicted the hammer, or you can press Y on your keyboard. Once it's open, go here to the kitchen section. This tab lists all of the raw ingredients in your fort right now and what the permissions are. So for example, here I've set pigtails to not be brewed with because I use pigtails for making cloth. I don't want to waste them on making drinks. While here with my plump helmets, I've set them to not get cooked with. Important things you should check here are the seeds tab. Make sure you're not cooking with any seeds because you want to be planting the seeds, you don't want to be cooking with them. Go to your drinks tab and you'll see here I have set a bunch of these to cook with, which is a mistake. I am going to go and get rid of a bunch of these because again, I want these for drinking, not for cooking. And then here in meat, fish and others, a very important thing you want to check for is any tallow. You want to make sure your tallow is set not to be cooked with. This is because tallow is used for making soap. It can be quite tricky though to actually make sure that you set this properly because again, this only shows ingredients that exist right now in your fort. Tallow is created when the kitchen does the render fat action. So if your kitchen is also cooking meals, I might cook with it straight away. You want to keep an eye out when butchering new animals. I'll give more details on how you should do this when I do my soap guide later this week. For the next tip, you should make sure to pasture your animals. Down here we have a couple of goats. These are grazing animals and you can see that they're hungry. They keep talking about chicken legs. Goats don't eat chicken legs. They eat grass. And because it's not pastured, it's not going to eat any grass even though there's a lot of grass they can wander into. In order to set up a pasture, you go to your zones menu, you go to pen pasture and you just draw a box. And there you go. Now it's been made. You press accept. After you make it, you have to tell your dwarves to put animals into this area. So if you press this plus next to a rabbit, it's going to list all of your animals. It's going to scroll to make sure you find any animals who should be grazing. So for example, you can see here, these are our billy goats and rams. And you just want to make sure that they are put into a pasture. Otherwise, they will not eat any grass and they will starve. At the start of any fortress, you're going to have to put your grazing animals either outside or down below one of these roof tiles, as I mentioned earlier, because then the grass is going to grow and they can eat that. Eventually, you will breach the caverns, and when you do that, it's actually going to send fungus and moss up through your fort. At this point, you can actually have your grazing animals put anywhere where there's a muddy or a soil floor, because that is going to grow fungus and moss which they can eat. But grazing animals aren't the only animals you should pasture. Here in my food production area, I have created a pasture, and this pasture contains a bunch of cats. The reason for this is cats are going to kill vermin, and vermin might try to eat your raw or prepared meals. So by just having a couple of cats anywhere where there's food, you can protect your stocks from any sort of vermin. Another tip is you can use dogs to protect your base from any sort of thieves. Thieves can either be agents of a villain trying to steal your artifacts, or they could be goblins trying to steal your babies. By having dogs at your entrance, anyone trying to sneak in will be seen. The hunting dogs in particular have a better detection range than normal dogs. So I tend to have a mix of hunting dogs and war dogs at my entrances. Then when a thief comes in, the dogs will spot them, and if the thieves are particularly brave or particularly foolish, they'll run in and just get torn to shreds.
To shreds, you say?
As for how to get war dogs and hunting dogs, you have to train them. Train them, you want to go to the livestock menu. To get to it, you go to Citizens menu, either by clicking here or pressing U. Go to Pets Livestock and scroll down to any animals that need to be trained. Once found, the options are to give them to a specific trainer, to train them for war, or train them for hunting. A war animal is better at killing stuff. A hunting animal is better at seeing stealthed foes. Other options on this side include make an animal available as a pet, butcher an animal, and for male animals, you can geld them. These are just a few tips for farming and animal use. There's a lot more, the game is quite deep, and I'll be going into more detail on some of these in future videos. I also just want to thank everybody for all of the positive responses in the last couple of videos. I've been absolutely blown away, and I'm glad I can help so many people get started in the game. If you want to catch more of me, feel free to like and subscribe. Check my Twitch down below, where I stream Dwarf Fortress live 4 days a week, and also check out any of the videos on screen right now.